What's up, everybody? It's the homie Truth Teller, the Street Reporter. And this is a topic that I'm always asked about that's kind of not like drill influence. A lot of people have been asking me to break down situations and topics that kind of happen that's kind of similar to the drill culture. So I've been digging in the bag a little bit and bringing out cases that kind of was brought to my attention a little while ago that kind of got me involved in doing these breakdowns. It's this one case that particularly stood out because I'm not gonna lie, the death was kind of heinous, and a lot of people always ask me about this. See, I kind of got a different belief that the news that's going on right now, it's okay, don't get me wrong, it's alright, but you know, people want to see what's really going on in their communities, what's really going on in their neighborhoods, who the type of people who they're living around, and unfortunately, the news is not gonna give you the full aspect of that shit. I mean, you're gonna get the guy sitting behind the desk with the screen behind and kind of break down the news with the weather and shit, but that's really not the real world. They can tell you about Millennium Beam and the free Wi-Fi, but it's murders and killings going on, and the people want to really know about that. So today I kind of picked a topic that I thought stood out to me. It's one of the early things that kind of brought a darkness to Chicago. Like I said in my previous blog, that I believe Blair Holt death was the first shots fired in the war in Chirac. Now that don't mean niggas ain't been dying, because people been dying. I'm just saying I think that kind of went to the media and showed the real how grimy shit really is in Chicago. But today we're going to bring a guy by the name of Darion Albert to the board. Now, I want you guys to understand he wasn't a rapper, so I don't have a lot of background on him. Now, I want you to know that I have close sources to the situation, a lot of them that kind of fill me in on this situation. I was able to read the police reports. I couldn't get the police scanners. I was able to sift through newspaper articles, but the police reports was kind of damaging because there was things in there that kind of confused me. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get a full understanding of what the fuck happened through the police reports. So I had to dig in deep to kind of understand this. So today we're gonna talk about Darion Albert. All I had on this guy, because I only knew about him once he died, all I had on this guy was that he was 16 years old and he went to the school called Finger. Okay, and I believe this was the south side of Chicago. Now, this is all I have, all the information that I have on this guy. I have nothing else, information that can go with this right here. But what I can tell you is, with this information here, it's things that stood out. First off, he was 16. He was kind of small, too. He didn't really look real big. Okay, he was kind of small. So those are just little normal things that kind of happen. But this what kind of confused me, because I had to deal with what happened more than his background, because I didn't have a lot of background. This is not a rapper, wasn't involved in the rap culture or anything like that. But it's eerie similar, because a lot of people die in the drill culture, especially young people. So I feel like this kind of blended in, to be honest with you. But the police is claiming September, okay, they're claiming September 24th, I believe, in 2009. They're saying that Darion Albert was walking home from school with his friends, okay? He was walking home with friends, okay? He was coming home from school. He was walking home with friends, when he was approached by another group, okay? Now, before we finish this off, and that's why I say the police reports and things kind of threw me off, because this is kind of like jump the gun too fast. I'm pretty sure it was things that kind of might have occurred before this instantly happened. Because walking home from school means school is out. When I read the police reports, this happened about 2:58. Okay? So school was out. So you went from the beginning to school is out. Once I looked at the police reports, they said that it was a shooting. Okay? It was a shooting earlier that day. Okay, it was a shooting earlier, and I guess people are in school or whatever the fuck happened. Okay, so whatever the fuck, I don't know, but I'm hearing that this shooting occurred maybe earlier that day or the day before. Okay, but I'm hearing that this shooting involved, it was gang related, you know, and I heard it involved basically it involved the Gardens versus the Ville. Okay? So the Gardens versus the Ville. All right? Now, these are low-income houses like projects in Chicago, Illinois, the Gardens and Villas. We all know about these areas. Now, I'm hearing that in this area, it's a lot of GDBD activity that goes on in this area. I'm pretty sure it's other gangs and shit, but I'm hearing it's a lot of GDBD area. I believe this shooting involved this gang shit, but I believe the shooting involved these two communities, two neighborhoods, ghetto neighborhoods, the Gardens and Ville. In the Ville. Not to say ghetto, but that's what they call it. But we gonna say the Ville and the Gardens. The shooting happened earlier between this. Now, the newspapers say that two factions met up, and that's how Darion got killed. So they explain it's two factions, which means the GDs, BDs, or however that went. Now, they from two different projects, right? Now, you got to remember, they all go to the same school, Finger, because all the people, the suspects, the killers, and everyone goes to this school, okay, Finger. So, you know, this is like having rival gangs have to cross these communities to get to this school. This was way before Safe Passage. Now, we know we got Safe Passage in Chicago where you know how to go and move, but this was before that. So they had rival gangs having to go through communities to get to this school. I know a lot of people gonna say, fuck all that gang shit. They need to go to school, get an education, and fuck all that gang shit. Pull your pants up. That's stupid. I understand that, but it is gang activity going on and shit does happen. So just to be honest with it, it is going on. But these two neighborhoods were all both going to this school, the guys who did it. Okay, now let's get to it. He was walking home with some friends when he was approached by another group. Next thing you know, he's approached by this other group. Next thing you know, while they're walking, another group get up on them, and it becomes an all-out brawl. Darion gets beaten. Blah, blah, blah. Bing, 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 bing. They stuff him out, hitting them all with sticks. They hit him in the fucking head with a stick. Now check this out. The whole beating was captured on a cell phone. It was captured. The shit went viral. We seen it all around the world. That young man stood no chance, okay? He was beaten. Not only was he beaten and hit with like a plank, he was beaten, hit with like a plank, and he was beaten once he was unconscious and shit. It was very sickening to watch that. So next thing you know, he was beaten to death, all right? He was beaten to death. 5 people were charged with his murder. 5 people were charged with his murder. He was beaten to death. Now, here goes things that kind of confuses me, okay? Check this out. These two groups that goes to this school, okay? These two groups go to this school. One of these groups are rivals, okay? And these two groups go to this school. So it's wars inside of the school that's involving gang banging and shit, okay? Outside of the school, some shit happens. Next thing you know, young man get beaten. It goes viral around the internet. We see him lose his life on camera. 5 people were charged. I believe they say rumors that one person charges got kind of dropped or something like that. But when I looked up the paperwork and seen everything, 5 people were charged, okay? 5 people were charged, and a lot of them got to, like, charges. They got convicted, too. And it went from, like, 5 years to 35 years, or what everyone had ended up getting. So the young man loses his life. But this is what my problem is. It doesn't really fully tell me the whole story. You know, this guy was just walking down the street and just got beaten senseless. That's my problem. I feel like when people die, they say things like this. Say, for instance, somebody get killed, and he used to go to school 5 months ago, and then the police come to your house and tell the mother, you know, we found your son. He was dead in the alley. The mama cried, my son, Dylan, I miss Dylan. He just went to school 4 months ago. He was going to school. So they put in the newspaper that a student got killed. Okay? His ass wasn't a student. His ass is on that block doing bad. So, you know, I kind of figured this might be a case of that. But the more I digged in, talked to people, sources, newspaper articles, police reports, I come to the conclusion, in my opinion, that Darion Albert was from one of these areas, either the Gardens or he was from the Ville, okay? He was from one of these two, all right? And which means that I believe he was either gang related. Now, this is the thing. I'm not sure if he was in a gang, but his friends were in gangs. The group that he was with walking home from school were in gangs, okay? Now, I'm not sure if he was in a gang, if he was a gang banger, but he sure was gang related because he was, around gang people. Okay, so when you're around them, you're in a gang. Okay, so he was walking home with these group of gang members when another group of gang members approached him, and I believe it had something to do with that shooting that had happened earlier the day before. Now, I'm not saying any one of them had something to do with the shooting, but maybe they were from the community or the neighborhood where that shooting happened at, and then these two neighborhoods are in this school, so they meet up after school. They do a meetup. Okay, and you know what a meetup is. A lot of y'all, when we used to get in that bullshit back in the day, we'll go march up to somebody's school and put them hands on their ears. I think this was a meetup. Now, I'm not sure if they agreed to do a meetup. Okay, I'm not sure if everyone knew it was going to be a meetup, but I believe, some guys marched up there to do a meetup to fight. I believe Darion Albert was with that group who was walking when another group went up there to meet up with their ass. Okay, I believe he was coming out of school, walking home, and there was another group coming up there to meet up to fight with them. I'm not sure if Albert realized it, but he was around gang members, so he caught the brunt of it. They beat him. He ended up losing his life. In my opinion, I believe Darion Albert was, I think Darion Albert was riding with his community. Okay, and what I mean by riding with his community, I don't think he was trying to fight for his community or beat people for his community, or maybe he was. I'm not saying that, but I just think when you from an area, you rap it. How people like, what is the God is. He's rapping his community. Or the other dudes, the Ville. They rap in their neighborhoods. I think it was like a neighborhood love thing. He was running with the guys from his neighborhood. And I believe they got approached by some guys and it went down. And I don't think Darion Albert was ready for that type of gangbanging shit. Because when you look at the cell phone video, he didn't throw a punch. Okay? He didn't even throw a punch. He didn't even fight. It was like it just came on him real hard. I believe this is a case of when your mom always said, make sure whatever you do, you don't hang around the wrong crowd. I believe Darion was around the wrong crowd and someone retaliated on, that crowd and he was in it. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't involved in shit. I'm not saying he wasn't bad. I'm not saying he wasn't doing gangbanging shit. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying I believe, looking at him, how he died, I don't believe he was a very aggressive person. I believe he was just from that community and he was rapping his community, from that school on some representing the school shit and representing his community where he's from. And I think some gangbanging shit happened and I don't think he really knew about gangbanging shit like that because it came heavy on him. I think he was with the wrong crowd, he had the wrong people with him and I think that ended up costing him his life, in my opinion. It's a sad situation too, but I believe that happened. And this is one of the early things that kind of brought a lot of attention to Chicago, where we started noticing that the violence was getting out of hand. But subscribe to my YouTube channel. I appreciate the love. Keep your donations. I don't need anything from you. You need to keep that shit for yourself. It's a lot of things you can do to been sending me some motherfucking money. But if you want to support me, I'm going to tell you what you can do. You can pull your finger up like this. Make sure you ain't got no dirt and shit all in your nails. But you pull your finger up. You hit the like button on your phone. When you do that, it make the videos grow. And a lot of people be able to see them. I appreciate the love. It's the homie True. Bleh, bleh. Bleh.